We had a viewer request, right?
Tom asked for a demo on the Laurastar iron. So since we're in Windmill, we have, which one is this? This is the I series, right?
Yeah, that's the Smart
board.
Eye. Yep.
So, move that out of the way a little bit here. This is the lift, and it's just a portable. So you can have this in your sewing room or wherever. And so both of them are on. That's always good.
Well, that's a really good point.
So there's a couple of things that make these irons really cool. The amount of steam, there we go, that you get.
Hi, Polly.
So this is a dry steam. You would never do this with an iron.
It'd burn you.
It would burn you, and my hand is not wet. So, Robert wants to hold hands. So, why does dry steam matter? So there's a couple of things about this ironing system that I wanted to go over with you. So the board actually adds a lot of functionality to your ironing. So the continuous steam, you can iron multiple layers of fabric at a time. So if you're a quilter like me and your fabric is already folded in half and you want to iron both and not have to flip it over and iron it again, you can do that because the steam will go down through. The ironing board has two features. So one, it will pull the fabric and it's controlled by the iron. So I'm going to switch them. So if you can see, so it's actually pushing air up underneath.
Cool.
If you have a very delicate blouse that you wanted to iron, you know, you can keep this and you can add your steam to it. And it's going to push that steam up out too, so that your fabric will stay dry. The button is right here, and so then I'm going to change it, and now it's pulling this fabric down onto the board. So if you're a clothing maker and you wanted to do pleats, I'm going to put just a basic pleat in here, and that board is going to start as soon as I pick up the iron. And if you notice, this iron, this board is pulling, oops, I'm hooking onto Robert here, is actually pulling the steam down through the multiple layers. And so what I can do is just add my next pleat, and this, as long as I'm moving this iron, you guys are missing out. It's going to pull this fabric down tight while I'm doing this. My pleats aren't going to get messed up. Decide you don't like the pleats? Oops, I just pushed another one in there. And see how that steam is not shooting out the side? If you look, you can see it actually getting pulled through the fabric.
That's cool.
It is cool because it's where you don't want your steam flowing out the side. That kind of defeats the purpose. And then the board automatically shuts off when you set the iron down. This one, the lift, has the continuous steam. And you can see, since the board is not on, since I set the iron over there, how the steam kind of goes out the side a little bit. And that's the water being pulled into the reservoir to make more steam. If you've ever, of course we have, right? So you're there with your iron, you're out of steam, and you've got your little cup, and you're trying not to burn yourself,
You
and it
need a
never
refill.
fails. It never. I don't think I've ever done it where it doesn't like bubble up. It's not full, but somehow that little reservoir gets a bubble in it, and then it just overflows, and then you've got a hot mess, literally a hot mess,
And maybe a burn.
and maybe a burn. Hopefully not. The other thing that these come with, this one is a Teflon plate that you can use for your delicate fabrics. It just snaps in. Your iron just goes right there and snaps in like that. And then you still have your steam, but you can iron silks and rayons and fabrics.
Do you actually touch the material with that?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
And you can see.
So to work with rayon too, which
Yep.
seems to be a favorite.
Seems to be a thing.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah, there it goes.
So that's kind of the demo for this. I was thinking
COVID
about.
certified.
Oh, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. This iron will kill COVID. They sent it off and had it tested, and I don't know, laboratory said yes, the steam and the heat will kill the COVID
but
virus.
you don't want to stick it in somebody's face. You
Yeah.
just want to use it on the mask.
Let me iron you.
Could I de-COVID you?
That would not go well. But, you know,
Throw that in there.
from personal experience, I can tell you that after a day of wearing a mask, it kind of gets a little odor, especially when you're a coffee drinker. You put this on there and you put the steam on it, and it's like having a fresh mask again. So
And you can feel it in the fabric,
And you-
because I was doing that with mine.
you
Yeah.
can.
So it is nice for that.
It is nice for that. Very nice iron. I have one of these at home. I have the lift. I use it when I'm pressing yardage, and I have a high-end Rowenta that I don't use now. It's nice.
It
You'll
is.
like it. You'll enjoy it. The lift, I don't know if we can give pricing, but call the store, call Quilters HQ or Windmill Sewing Center, and we can give you pricing for these. Both the board system. The board is really nice.
Is that shorter than a normal ironing board?
I don't
From the
think so.
looks
I don't
tall.
think
It's tall, but I didn't know
like
about the length.
the length of the board.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it. I think it's like,
Okay.
I don't know. That's a good
From the
question.
angle I was looking at it.
Oh,
That may have
shorter,
been-
you're talking.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm,
Yeah, well, that's what everybody was, except me.
Marilyn's
never
tall.
mind.
Yeah, the board is nice. The fact that you can actually, I found this out, I did not know that. You could do 6 layers of fabric, and with that fan, it will pull the steam through all of the layers. Perhaps you washed a quilt and it shrank and you didn't
Hi,
want
Leela.
it to. Then I've done that. I've ironed, the shrinkage out of a quilt before. That would come in handy.
I talked with someone today who has one. She doesn't have
The
this
board.
big one. She has the lift. And she said she actually cleaned a men's suit with it. And she said she hung it up on a hanger, and the suit was wrinkled and hadn't been cleaned for a while. And she just went down it with the iron. She didn't have to rub it with her hand or anything. And she just watched the wrinkles fall out of it. And she said when she was done, it looked like a new suit. I mean, it was all like it had come from the cleaners and was great. So she really thought it was a wonderful thing. So
It is.
you can do it on your curtains.
Mhm.
If you have drapes that you don't want to send to the cleaners, you can do it on those. I'm assuming you could probably use it on some blinds that are fabric.
Mhm.
So there are any number of uses for it that.
I think,
Coming in.
some of the things they said that were useful were hospitals,
Mhm.
right? Firefighters, police officers, those are great for them. So,
Right. So a really nice new take on an old iron.
yeah. Yeah.
I know.
So it's great.
And I like what you said about that too, with the steaming because they sell separate steamers that's all
Yes.
they do.
For your
Well,
curtains.
that's what this gal
Mhm.
had, was a steamer, and she said, I sold mine. She said,
Yeah.
as soon as I saw that, my steamer was gone.
Yep.
But every one that I've ever tried drips. Well, there's no dripping from this. This
No.
is just dry steam, which is makes it a really nice feature. And it's a great, I mean, you put water in the thing, but it doesn't come out wet.
Right. Yeah,
Which is kind of
it's
hard
very
to
dry,
see.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really good for that. So
Yeah.
So-
there are a lot of
Interesting.
uses for it other than just fabric.
And when you're quilting, you really don't want to saturate your quilt fabric with wet steam, because if you don't pre-wash, then you don't want it to shrink. And that has happened to me before, where you have an unruly block that won't lay flat, and you're like, okay, well, I'll just put a bunch of steam on it, and then all of a sudden that block doesn't fit anymore because it shrank.
About batiks too. So
Yeah.
do that? Can't they bleed as well?
The batiks,
Yeah.
usually you do want to wash those, but yeah, they can bleed if you get them wet and into your
I've never washed my batiks.
Curious.
color catchers.
I use
Yeah.
color catchers.
Color catchers.
Okay.
For those of us that don't pre-wash your fabric, we use color catchers. You can throw like 4 or 5 of them in. And they can be found at the grocery
What,
store.
you're just like over there chucking blue and red and... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, homemade
Yep.
Robert.
That would be a guy thing.
Oh,
Yep.
Fine.